eyes on the monitor bright. They're waiting for the turkey to stream day or night. With Fibonacci lines and trend lines bold, they're ready to learn their crypto wealth to unfold. Here they come to watch the turkey. Oh yeah. Yeah, here come the turkey. Yeah. You know he's gonna call it right. No, 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 no. He's gonna call it right. Here they come to watch the turkey. Oh yeah. Yeah, here come the turkey. Yeah. You know he's gonna call it right. No, 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 no. He gonna call it right. Here they come to watch the turkey. Oh yeah. Yeah, here come the turkey. Yeah. You know he's gonna call it right. No, 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 no. He gonna call it right. I see my viewers, they're a curious breed. They're searching for the next big thing, the fortunes to read. They're clicking on the turkey, their hearts beating fast. They're ready to ride the waves, their crypto portfolios to a month. Here they come to watch the turkey. Oh yeah. Yeah, here come the turkey. Yeah. You know he's gonna call it right. No, 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 no. He gonna call it right.
Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Level check. Clipping. Clipping now. Oh, that's clipping. Check, check, 1 2.
In the digital realm where the pixels dance, I'm the trader, the player, the main chance. On the charts, I see the signs, the patterns, trend lines, candlesticks, the market's own tattoos.
That's a little cowbell.
Trades, stay focused, don't let the noise invade. Technical analysis, my trusted guide. In the crypto market, I ride the tide. Crypto patterns, they come and go. Stay ahead, let the market flow. By the dips of the peak, don't hesitate. In the crypto market, I navigate. MACD, RSI, the tools of my trade. Volume spikes where the profits are made. Bullish and bearish, the market's mood. Stay alert, the game is never subdued. Highs and lows, the rhythm of the trade. Stay focused, don't let the noise invade. Technical analysis, my trusted guide. In the crypto market, I ride the tide. Crypto patterns, they come and go. Stay ahead, let the market flow. By the dips of the peak, don't hesitate. In the crypto market, I navigate. In the chaos, I find the signal. In the noise, I see the details. With every trade, I grow and thrive. In the crypto market, I stay alive. crypto patterns, they come and go. Stay ahead, let the market flow. Buy the dip so the peak, don't hesitate. In the crypto market, I navigate. In the digital realm,
Ladies and gentlemen,
trade patterns
brace yourself for the turkey.
Crypto patterns, they come
The
and
turkey
go.
cometh.
In the crypto market, I glow.
For those of you out there that hitting that like button,
Dang, that's
I shall
loud.
say thank you very much.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a little bit early of a late night stream. I was debating on whether streaming at all, but I think I got something that maybe somebody out there needs to hear. Maybe not everybody. Some of you guys got your own thoughts on the market and everything, but it's just not looking good to me. Now, I've taken the last couple of days off, taking a little bit of a break from YouTube and stuff, just to kind of get myself straight as much as I can, and I might even take a few other days off. I've got my account set up and I'm battening down for a potential storm, and you don't have to do that, but I suggest maybe you look at the possibilities that this might be a very rough week that we're heading into. And I know they like to play games and fake us out on Sunday and get us scared before they pump us up on a Monday, or or play games with our heads. They do have that going on, and we got a nice setup, but it does look to me like maybe we got a little bit more going on. And so here we are, the altcoins on the day. They've holding okay. They're all right, for the week. How's most of them doing? Down about 4 up to 8% on average here for most of the categories. Kind of sucks being altcoins right now. I know, because I'm in a bunch of them. I'm not going to do that next cycle. Screw the altcoins as much. Even the chosen few, it's amazing, how you look in hindsight, and hindsight works, and that's why backtesting is an effective way to kind of reinforce your strategies and things like that. And it's always good to go back and backtest and make sure that those things are working out good. And I guess we can all probably do that a little bit more than not. But Caspa had a nice distribution pattern there. We're all sitting there being hopeful that she could break 23 cents, and all the time just being played by those smart whales there. A slow distribution too. They did good. They did really good when you think about it, considering where Caspa is now, down at about 6 cents. Yeah. I mean, look at that. That was beautiful. Even roundy, but all that hopium. And all that love for Caspa, that diamond hand for Caspa. Caspa's the one, all that belief. I mean, it's good, but does it pay off? It only pays off when you take profits up there. That's just one example that we can probably look back and probably look back at a lot of them. Take Pith, for example, which Pith, can you believe it? Can you believe it was above $1 at one time, and here it is at 13 cents? Yeah, this is when the BitBoy was really big on this, and Ondo and Mr. X and all that, which they had a falling out. And here Pith is down from just pretty much a little ski slope there and down. Filecoin over here, man, taking a beat with $10. Would you believe that right now? $10. Now you can look at it like, well, this is a good time to buy, and if you got dry powder and dollar cost average, by all means. But it does look like they might even get a little bit cheaper here over the coming weeks, unfortunately for altcoins. But DCA, I really do believe, if I can drive it home to you, if you guys are out there working, got families and all this other stuff, you don't have time to be in charts every day. This isn't your new day job, and there is a learning curve to this day job thing too, and ups and downs for it if this is your main way of doing anything. It might be more of a dream for you guys, but let me tell you what your best thing is to do is not be trying to day trade so much. But DCA is definitely your best friend. I do believe you got good opportunities through the rest of this year, and DCA and select altcoins, I would recommend probably looking at the ones here in USA. They'll get the tax breaks. I highly recommend that you take any one of them that's got a tax break on it. But anyway, they're all hurting. They're all hurting bad, and they have not really in very little spurts have they ever outperformed Bitcoin. And it was only a value to you. I mean, that's the thing that's sold a lot. The narrative that's sold, you know, altcoins outperform Bitcoin. But you know, unless you're actually trading Bitcoin against it, or you know, or that's your scheme, and trading that pair and taking advantage of those short runs, what good is it for you? Because ultimately, they're not gaining against Bitcoin. In little spurts, maybe. Not worth it. Bitcoin's been the one outperforming. She's definitely proved her worth, even though, and I know she's $82,000 now. I remember back when she was dropping from 30 to 20 to 20, you know, 20 and 23, hanging around there, and then we dropped down to 15, 18, 15, and all that. Hoping to dream would ever hit 100,000, and we did. And we're at 82, higher than we were last cycle. Yet, unless you were really, really playing Bitcoin, you know, you missed out on a lot of gains. The Boomer Coin did it, and they can. Anyway, let's get into the TA here. I'm on the 2-month chart, and I want to take a look at this. I mean, that's one that we rarely ever, or anybody rarely ever looks at, bigger charts. I mean, we can go above this. Why not? Why not? Let's work our way down from this. This is our 12-month. Ain't got nothing there. No surprise. Even though, yeah, wow. Let me get back to my original chart there. There should be something like that on some exchange. That's yearly candles and everything. I'm on the MACD, that's why. Let me get over here. What does the 12-month chart look like? This is our yearly chart for Bitcoin. And she did good here. This was the nice big candle right there. This was 2021 right here. This is 2022. This is 2023 into the bear market, I might add. The little spike off top there in 2021. So we had 20 and 21 being two nice green candles. Then we got 23 and 24 being green candles here. But you know, we should be getting 3 green candles. I agree with that. We should be getting 3 green candles and then a heavy red one. I don't know that this is our heavy red one, and this one can turn green on us, and it needs to. We need that. So I'm not going to go down that road. But I am going to draw out, you know, the point that as we got this rising price, we do have some falling volume here. That's going to be suspect on whatever candles that you're on. Putting on my candles, the Hakinashis, it still looks pretty strong there to me, even with the falling volume there. 12 months a little bit too high. I really wanted to focus on that 2-month, but we're just going to walk our way down there. Let's look at this just for poops and giggles here at the 6-month, and you can see the last 6 months have been a little bad after we topped out at 109. And it's easy to be moving boards. I mean, everybody's got a flag drawn to 140, 150, $130,000 to the upside and hopium, and then it doesn't go there, and that's how easy it is to get suckered into holding on to these tops. When it's probably more lucrative to take profit, and you only see it in hindsight, and that's the bad thing about this life and anything is that. But it's good to keep your eyes in the rearview mirror, I think. That's the only way that you can identify these things as they're coming in the get-go and in the future. Is that now we're coming down to the 3-month, and you know, you see for the last 3 months here we've not been that great since December. That was the good time for Bitcoin. You know, it reflects on our altcoins too. I guess I could flip over to total 3. That we are mostly talking about altcoins tonight, I believe. This is us on total 3. 3-month candle. It doesn't look too great, does it? There's some strength here. I can see that little curve there going on, and that's nice. I hope that continues, and I hope you know, that this little quarter here is not too devastating. But we do have this 9 moving average way the freak down here, and it has touched it on out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles that we've got. We touched it out of 3 of them, and this candle ain't near there over yet. But it's telling me it's got 22, is that right? 22 hours. So it will close here. Well, I would really hate for you to wick down there. I hope that you don't. I hope that you don't. I hope that one of those little green areas satisfied you. maybe there will be a little sign of relief there. Let's take this little sucker down to the 2-month. Now here, we have not yet got a green dot or a red dot, but we do on Bitcoin for this chart. And that to me is a little concerning. Now you might argue it, hey, it is not confirmed. We'll know 2 months from now if it confirms or not. But Bitcoin would take a dive, and then alts ride along with it. Got this little box down here right around $670 billion. That's about another 100 billion less than we have in this market now, so that's a nice little haircut there. I don't know, I'm just kind of guesstimating somewhere around 13-14% maybe. Drop again on altcoins, that's not fine, some more than others. Not a nice little rodeo to be on, if you ask me, in my personal opinion. But now this, this looks better than Bitcoin to me, actually. I mean, don't take that the wrong way. She still looks like she can go down, but she's still got some strength behind her, I see. Even we touch that 9-moving average, that's kind of normal. Got a bullish cross over the 21, that looks good. Falling prices with falling volume, that means that the drive to the down on alts is getting weaker. Because I guess, there's you just got the people to sell, and then you just got the market, right? And nobody interested in buying them because there's so darn many, only a select few. So the oversaturation, it can have its negative effect to the downside too, I guess, if there's no audience for that altcoin. Eat that, market makers. But let's go over here to Bitcoin. Oh snap, let's get me one that I'm not marked up too much, because I want to mark it up a little bit. This one don't have the history on it. And I also find this CME futures MBT1 exclamation point ticker. We want to take a look at that one too. It's different. They're playing by some different rules than we are. Not really, but here we go. So here we are, 2-month chart. And this 2 months per candle. Now, at best, we can hope that we do something called red light, green light, where we just kind of take a little dip and then we get bullish, and we play that little game up and down a little bit, and that we don't continue down to make for the next 4 to 6 months. That would suck. It doesn't even sound even plausible for this market. But I'll take you back to 2021 in April when we topped out, and how it went all the way to July before we started turning around, and we got our second top there, and still they were calling for higher. Nobody knows. And it's a bunch of confident, sometimes way overconfident guessing out there. And those ideas, and for people new to this market, that's going to get you wrecked quicker than anything. That's one of the reasons why I'm not watching. I'm not tuning into anything on YouTube this week. Why this market's in turmoil. That might be something for you to think about too. I'm just saying, and just getting the charts for yourself. I mean, clicks be damned. I would rather, I'd rather be, I'd rather you guys be out there doing the right thing, and then me trying to entice you with some title or something like that. It looks a little rough. It looks a little rough for the next few weeks here. We got a lot of things coming to the news, but now I don't really focus on the fundamentals. I mean, I'll listen to them, but I'm really a technical analyst, and that's what I do here. I do technical analysis and teach you how to do some of these things to identify pivot points, and so you can come up with your strategies on how you want to play this market. And every one of you's got a different strategy, and y'all got a different way of playing than I do. I mean, I doubt very many of you are on a big spot margin play right now. So the strategies that I use, but there's one I'm going to talk about tonight that I think might be useful for some of you with some low leverage holds out there, or even on some of your spot bags, especially if you're trying to do something with them. As soon as I can find a chart that I can talk about that I haven't mucked up here. Here's a halfway clean chart. All right, so I do want to come back to this. You're not the one's got it. Here we go. Well, this is okay. So here we are. So we got a red dot here, and on the 2 month, that's a big thing to pay attention to, I believe. Okay. And now I just found that just a few seconds before the show. Actually, I thought, oh, I need to check these bigger time frames, and sure enough, we got warnings there. The warnings were showing up on the smaller time, or the weekly and everything else too. Finding that doesn't make me feel much better. But before I get off of that, it's not just that; it's the early signs of the MACD weakening here on the 2-month. These are the very first signs that we see. Now we can snap out of it. We just start going bullish. It'll clear this right up. I know. That's what makes these bigger time frames a little tricky, because it takes them a while for you to feel the effects. It's kind of like when they do the money printing. It takes about a good 6, 9, I don't know, sometimes up to a year before you get the effects. Yeah, it's kind of like when they do halving for Bitcoin. It takes a little while before you feel the effects. Although we're getting kind of a mixed stuff going on now, which I really think a lot of it is manipulation. So, and I wonder, maybe Bitcoin is a little bit overvalued for its point in the market right now. I wonder that. Maybe they got it all inflated so that it wouldn't hurt so bad when they bring it back down. I don't know what they do. I just know that the numbers are coming up high and they're starting to flip down to the lows, like we're taking a break, just like we would on any other chart here. And we dip back below this 70 here, yeah? And that's your sell point. That's your sell signal on your RSI strategies. That's when you want to make sure. I mean, you got all other places to sell when we're above it, and here it was back in November, December. We didn't quite get up here to the nice big strong point. Doesn't mean that we're bear market, and I'm not interpreting it that we're bear market, but I am being bearish, and we got some areas that we can come down to. We got our little signal line down here, and we're talking about the RSI dropping about another maybe 5% there. It doesn't sound like much, but in your portfolios, and especially if you're holding altcoins, that could do some hurting. I also got our non-moving average here on the 2-month chart, right down here where we could, right down here. You see this candle top? I would pay attention to that. Let me mark that, the 2-month candle close up there. And you see that, you flipped it, right? That's a support resistance flip where we flipped over that month, and, we could have done it a lot of different ways, but that's how we played it. That's at 70,000. Oh my God, that makes me want to throw up in my mouth just to say that number. Doesn't mean we'll go down there, but we could. We could. It might be a little bit more likely than not with that non-moving average there. So, and when I heard people calling for 68,000, I was like, nah, man, you being way bearish. And maybe they're like that little bias. And someone back in January who, did a method, they were a GAN trader, so I paid a little bit more attention to them. They were calling for 77, like before the end of January. And even that just sounds like, I don't know, because we felt bullish, right? Just coming off of those December highs and everything didn't seem as likely. It seems like we would have caught before then. And though he might have been wrong on his timeline, just about 6 weeks later, there we were, right? A little crazy. So it's a reminder that, those things can happen, and if we're not looking for it, we can be on the wrong side of it or get caught up in it. And a lot of people are down already because, they're chasing those green candles. And the market makers, they make it very enticing to do that, and then they start punishing you at some point in the market. And right now is one of those points, a lot of people are feeling it. And I think everybody be lying if they're trying to hold, do a long-term play. Unless you are just strictly trader in out of this market, and then you've obviously been doing it for a while, you're not new to it, or because it takes a while to build to that skill. You're probably feeling it too. And my take is, before all the craziness gets in, I want my plan in effect. So that's what I've done. I've been sitting there getting my limit orders because I'm going to be busy this next week, and I got a little sit and forget strategy, and it works well. Like I said, we're circling this back around to what we're talking about. A lot of you don't do this. A lot of you don't have the free time or semi-retired or whatever aspect that I might fall into. I'm very blessed and fortunate that I don't have to go work a job yet, knock on wood. Could change. I hope it doesn't. I kind of like what I do here and everything. It just doesn't, this part of the game don't play good. And lately, the crypto part, is not really living up to my hopes and dreams as much as I'd like. It's been a pretty decent day to be shorting the market, though. I'll tell you that. That's probably something a lot of us will start looking at, and till enough of us get on and they say, "Ha, we're going to short squeeze you." Ha ha, gotcha. Because they're really good at that game too, so don't get it twisted. So we might get a bump up. I'm not trying to say, oh, he's bearish, the price is dropping. I mean, I don't know. We'll take a look at the charts and see where we might be coming down to soon. I'm guessing, 78 might be on the table sometime this week. I don't know, but we might go up before we get there. If we do, I mean, we are in a downtrend. I don't think we are in a bear market. Some people are declaring that we are. I think we're in a downtrend. It is starting to look like we will be lucky if we get a double top scenario like this. And we talked about this before on the channel, and that sucks for that to happen. And that's a way for them to accumulate. It is. And so it looks like our first global adoption thing is going to be BlackRock and whatever the big people, playing the game where they can accumulate more and distribute and if they do it like this, they make fun. They make just as much money if it was to go all the way up, because they're playing that range. But that it's starting to look like that might be what we're setting up for, is another double top scenario, and that would kind of suck, and that would mean us we come down here to these areas again. We get remember this, yeah, something kind of like that, maybe not to 60 or 58,000 or anything like some people are calling. I think we got some leeway, but then we get our and they may even do what they did last time. They made a higher high, and that messed with my head last time because I didn't know how to interpret that. But they made a higher high. We should get a higher low and be good. And we got a higher low, and then we dumped. So I think it's very important to pay attention to trend lines for one dang thing. And I want to get back on my candles because I can't stand that noise. And my candles will give me a different trend line than what that regular trend line will do. Can you see that? I'm cutting through candles on it. But I find these trend lines to be a lot more accurate. That's just my take on it. Doesn't have to be yours. Here we are on the 2-week chart on Bitcoin, and we're approaching that 21 moving average and the bottom of a trend line on my Heikin-Ashi candles. Now there is a little bit of wiggle room that we can include there, but need not do it right now. I'd like to draw your attention to this bearish MACD that crossed, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago, when it was a good time to, hey man, get out of the market, but nope. So easy to ignore those big signs when they're there, because at the moment they're not played out yet, right? And sometimes it's just down a little. It looks like we can catch here and go up. And that's the voices in our heads. Voices in my head when that's going on. But every time that these kind of things happen, pick your poison, whatever time frame, 1 week, 2 week, wherever you see a MACD cross or where your indicator turned bearish, go check it out and see what happens. And here we were going up. We were moving up. Oh man, this might be here. We're breaking out, baby. We just made a lower low. We're good. During that week of July, right before that was the week, right before the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, wasn't it? If I'm remembering right, was that June or July? That was July. Because we came up and then we kind of lost it, and then we started going up, and then after that it was over. She dropped very sharply to $48,000. That was scary AF. I lost a lot of money there in that. I was not prepared for that because I was feeling kind of bullish over here that we were getting above the non-moving average. We didn't clear it. But that's what it looks like on the 2 week. And then we had the big scare out, and we made a recovery, and then we had another little scare out dropping down to 52. I remember that because this gave me PTSD from here, and then I had flashbacks when we started dropping back down there, and I didn't like it. Nor would I'm going to like it now. So I plan on doing something about it before any of that crap starts happening again, because it looks like it might. we came down and touched that 200 moving average, or that 21 moving average on the 2-week, and we lost it a few times. And I would say we're probably going to do something like that here again over the next few weeks. And I don't know what's going to happen in the market. I don't know if it's going to be the tariffs. I don't know if Vladimir is going to be, you know, firing off some torpedoes somewhere. I don't know what's going to be happening. But the charts are saying some, you know, we're going down. The momentum is still taking us down. There's nothing here saying we're right at the bottom. And then we got some fib levels that we're eyeballing. Can I clear this one off? Let's clear this one off. I want to clear this whole chart off. Yes, remove them. You have been removed. Now, I have not spoken with Elliot. Now, he's very bullish on the weekly. He's very bullish on the weekly. He thinks that we're close to a bottom and we're getting ready to go for a big ass 5 wave. He seems to think the same thing down here too, but here's the catch on it. It could be down to 73,000, 76,000. I was kind of looking at 78. Elliot's getting a little bit more bearish, but after that, we might get the move that we're looking for, and we need that. And some of you guys, you know, might be in danger of being flushed out of the market by then. I know it's definitely can work on your nerves and everything. Couple that with some other things in life, and you know, I can see why BitBoy has lost his mind again. Supposedly he's in jail again, or he's in jail. Let me say he's. I said again. No, but I don't know what happened there. So we're going to follow some trend lines because this is trend line strategy. If that trend line breaks, you need to just say, oh crap. I mean, but you know, whatever time frame, you got to make sure you got your candle confirmations. I don't want to say that too hesitantly. That's the general rule, that the trend line will save you. But they are good about faking out because, you know, this was before that trend line ever established itself. But we got some wicks. That can happen too. You got a little wiggle room with some of this stuff. But I want to pull some fib levels. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's figure this out because, man, I'm done. I'm done with the playing games, man. Like I said, my strategy's already been implemented, and I will get to that. But I just want to make it real about where we could be going. 382 Fibonacci bouncing off of there in the big picture is bullish, and that's where we could go. I think even Elliot, is that where you got Elliot? 73,705. Yeah, we got the same fib there. Yeah, 382. He's got a little different number because of how I pulled it, but right there. Remember, this is not about nailing the perfect number. This is about trying to nail the zone closest to there. So I know you might see us come on here and say, nailed it! When something hits our line and everything, and that's all great when it does the pivot points. That's what makes the fib strategy so wonderful. In my personal opinion, life-changing for me when I found it. But to me, that's where we're headed. Now we continue taking our fib. Did we screw up the whole fib? How'd you do that? I'll take it up level by level. And you know, we can make excuses. Well, she hit the 7, she respected it there, and she can. This is the magic of fibs. You know, you'll see the little responses on things, even if you pull a fib wrong, and there might be something, because I don't know how this works, but you know, there's an explanation for it. Now from here, we were looking at this 0.5, and we hit that, and we respected that one as well. And that's usually where we find traction in a bull cycle. That 0.5 area to go up. And I hope and pray that maybe that's as far as we go down, 78,000. That was more in the lines of what I was talking about when I first came here, or when I first came in the stream. Looking coming back to retest that area and that 21 moving average there. But you know, they doesn't mean we bounce from there cleanly. We can wick, and could even wick down to this 382 area here and touch it. I would say that there might be just one day that they quickly do that. And while we're sitting here at 81,000, you know, a $10,000 drop over the next few weeks, I mean, it can happen. It can happen. So again, this is no bueno. This is not showing signs of slowing up just yet. When she starts printing these white, pale pink lines, then we're on to something. But right now, she's still full on force here. Right now, we can still get down to that 21 moving average, and it's at 79,800. And we're just going to walk down to the weekly because today is Sunday and we got a weekly close. And that's where I'm going to switch it back over to the Christmas tree candles. We're going to take a tight look here because it sucks that, we just started dropping immediately. Just started dropping immediately right here. We came down, went back up, closed here, and then ever since that candle closed, we've been dropping. Last 2 hours. And I anticipate that we will continue to drop. I think that the stock market, because we need to take a look at that little guy over here. They're losing their support level here on the SPX. I'm just looking at the SPX, Standard & Poor 500, related to tech stocks and risk on assets, which apparently are not in fashion right now, which Bitcoin is still considered one. And it looks like they're going to drop it down to their 382 Fibonacci area, that green area, or even more. So what's this one's at 5580 is the score on this. And I've never traded this, but I'm starting to get interested in it. Maybe if capital frees up and something like that, I may switch over to another exchange that might let me do that. But that's quite a drop that we might be coming to. It is looking like this is a possible bear flag, and if it's a flag, if the measure move be true, and I want to do it like Thomas Bukowski does. Thomas Bukowski puts it at, he doesn't put it at the breakout for a flag. Now for pennants he does, but for flags he's different. And I found since I started doing it his way that the measure move is much more accurate. And I used to scoff at Gareth Soloway because he did it that way. It's like, you're doing it the old boomer way. And I'm like, well, gosh darn it, man. Thomas Bukowski says, no, that's the way you should do it. So I have a lot of respect for Thomas Bukowski since he wrote the book on the Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, and I did not. I assume that he has a lot more knowledge than I do. And so far, yeah, he does. He's got a lot, and that's a good place to go learn. So that can take us down here another, what percentage? A lot was at 5% from where we are, 7% from where we are, 8% from where we are, and that's enough to freak them out. They'll just go crazy. So if you think that the regular markets and tech stocks are going to drop and fall and then freak out, and your altcoins are going to survive, well, you're new to crypto, aren't you? This is your very first cycle, probably the first quarter of your first cycle, and fasten your seatbelts because you're about to be in for a wild ride. So we do have, we need to take a look at a few. We're spending this time on the things that matter tonight, and not so much the altcoin charts. But when I get to the strategies I want to share, that hopefully it might save your asses. I don't know. It saves my ass. It saves my ass, and it helps me kind of navigate this market a little bit better. But the 50 moving average here on the weekly is hanging out at what? 76,255. So we're getting a few more votes for 76 and 73 than from my target around 78. I'm still got faith in you. I'm going to pull out a little thing that I like to do called the whoop-de-woo. And I'm going to pull the whoop-de-woo fib over here from swing low to swing high. And I'm going to say, dang, man. I mean, really, I'd take this as looking decent for me. To me, it looks like we hit our 1618. We came up and then we're stepping, and we could come down to about 86. Now, if I were going to guess, according to the way that I use this, well, I mean, there's another step to it, but I would think that, hey, man, I might get some support here. And we may, this might be our higher low area right here, but that's not really the right way to do it. I would have to come back over here and pull this little guy. Probably be easier to do this on the smaller time frame. It all comes out the same though. It's just easier to see there. And oh, your whoop-de-whoops right there, close to the 618 where we are. I would be looking here for the deeper retracement, and we can go ahead and map all this out. And I'm sure I'm confident enough to say that we will get some kind of reaction here. with price, because that's just how this works. But will it stick? That's not what I'm confident to say. I'm not confident about that. I'm just going to go ahead and come down to the daily now, because we're just getting too crazy with the lines. All right, so we're mapping out Bitcoin, laying out some areas that it looks like she can probably play with. This is where it gets tricky, how it did this little thing here. I'm going to go from this leak high here to there. There's our impulse move. Let's see what we got there. All right. So what I don't like that has happened, and what I'm concerned about, is in all these moves here, especially from this high down to this low, we've not been able to get above this 0.5, this $88,000 area. We have not been able to really move back above there. That was kind of, since making this newer low here, that was kind of crucial for me for that to happen. Now I've got two ideas of what could be happening here. And the most bullish one is that we bounce from where we are right now. That's highly unlikely. Second bullish one is that we bounce off of any of these guys, and that can happen. Maybe we get lucky. If the fallen price and the fallen volume continue, I think we might see that. See a decline on the selling pressure, and we might start seeing more wicks like this on these bottom candles. That might be a good sign that maybe we're starting to put the brakes on, at 78 and 79. That's really where my T is kind of focused on right now. But I don't want to leave out those other areas that we looked at, which do go lower. The 73 to 76 area here, because they are on the table too. As well as, since we didn't clear that 0.5, by my strategies, I can see 68 and 70. So a little concerning. But while I'm here, I want to leave these guys. Now we're retesting an area right here that I would love to see us bounce from and see it hold. And maybe it will, and they'll come back up, and then we do something like this. I wouldn't put it past them. The bigger time frames are saying we're not ready to snap out of this yet. So a lot of people will take that bullish and then start, whoa, we're buying or whatever, and start chasing. But the bigger time frames are saying don't do it. We're the daily versus what we saw in the 2 week. Okay, the 2 week is bearish. The weekly's still bearish. They're all still bearish, and we're not ready to flip it in my personal opinion. And I think we got some more whale games going on. And I do see that there's a good chance for us to be coming back down. And the daily tells us that when we look at our moving averages over here. Make sure my microphone's on. I'm not even come to the chat, because I just think this is more one where I'm just kind of sharing. And I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I don't know. I've got kind of a busy week coming up, and part of it, there's something inside me just saying, hey man, take a break. Just take a break. So we got 200 moving average. I like the angle it's going in. Here's the 360, just kind of measure. The hope was that we would maintain that, and we didn't. The hope was that maybe the 9 could, have a little influence, but it was this 21 that crossed it, and I made note of that, and we've talked about it. That's going to be a sandbagger. That's going to keep us from really going up to where we want to go, and maybe even pull us back down. And sure enough, it pulled us back down. Not only that, but it pulled the 9 back. So we've just rolled over. On a 5-minute chart, on a 1-hour chart, on a smaller chart, when this happens, it's down. It's rejection. It means coming down, and usually for a lower low. And that sucks, because our last low was 76, and so there your argument is for these lower areas, and possibly this 382 Fibonacci right here that we pulled off the bigger chart, 73. That will not be a fun ride. We got a trend line here about 76 with a 200 or 360. And maybe we'll catch traction there. Maybe that's enough to get us. Maybe we only hit like a 1.13. But even your 1.13 is about 75,000. But the sad, it takes it a while to get down there. It's a slow burn, zigzag, and there's going to be points and maybe a few days where it looks hopium and optimistic, like maybe when it bounces off of 79 or bounces here off of 80, get some kind of traction there, and then it's Moon Boy City, we're turning. You'll get all this kind of stuff. Keeping our eye here on this 50 moving average, which is still taking a nosedive. Now it could bounce if we got price action bullish again, bullish enough. We'd have to get a higher high end. That would be the thing that we'd have to see. That's the only thing that's going to change us right now. If we break above this high of 88, where we kept getting rejected. It looked good. It looked good. We did our 3 humps and then we got our dump. You hear me say that a lot, but we were making higher highs and higher lows in a pattern, and we do that until we don't. And that's where the 3 hump and the dump rule kind of comes in handy. It kind of makes you think, well, this is our 3rd one. Let's be a little cautious here. That's how the meaning I try to get across, or hope to get across when I talk about it. Sometimes you're not even looking for that 3rd hump, and that rule can help you look for another push up. And then sometimes you got it, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, we already got our 3 humps now. Are you going to dump on me? And I mean, just little things I try to throw out there if you pick up on them. But that would be the only thing that would say we would have to come up, find support, even if it's down here a little bit, and then get a higher high. Until that happens, we got to see that we are still in a downtrend. And she's a good one. She's a good one. That was some strong rejection right there. Just leveled out perfectly on that. The sad thing, the cool thing about this local pattern that we got, I mean, I like this pattern. That's not changed. It's not changed at all. Local pattern. So the bullish megaphone. It's actually a bullish pattern, believe it or not. But the thing that we're going to break out here was is not usually how it works out, and I mentioned that then. I mean, we're always hopeful that we can and everything, but what it normally sees is a point of decline, or a partial decline. And that may be what happens here around 77, 78. I keep going back to that because that's what I see. There are still the strong possibilities we can go lower. Maybe it does something like that. I don't know what price is going to do, but I do know one thing. When you see these guys make a partial decline and they find an area where they level out, that's when to look for the real breakout for them. The one that matters. That's the most likely sign. But they can also fake you out. I mean, up here, I mean, that's technically what a partial decline looks like. But the drop, if they don't do it, that drop's deadly. Now, on the smaller time frame for Bitcoin, I think we got one of those guys. That's what we've been in, I believe. Yeah. So this is a good way to get a feel for that little guy right here. So I've been watching you on the smaller time frames today. We got that same little guy right here. And she bounced off of it and come up here. Looked like she's going to break out. Didn't quite make it. And then boom. Big ass drop. Come up here. Oh, looked like she got a breakout, right? She didn't ever confirm anything. Even the double top respect that. And then boom. We can get some big ass drops. 80,000 on this chart. 80,000 on this chart. Might be a coming. But she's got to make a partial decline. That's what we got to look for. And that, maybe we do something. I don't know what it will look like. I don't know what it will look like. Elliot, you got any ideas? That's what Elliot says. Oh, Elliot, you thought that was a C wave? What's this then? I'm not going to talk about it. No, I didn't think you were. You just... Elliot, you got no ideas on this? Elliot gave up. He said, I don't know. That's as far as I can go with my counts. I can't. He can only count ABC. I know. Don't rub it in. He can't get back. He can't count past 5 either. Sorry, Elliot, your secret's out. Elliot is confused and doesn't know what to make of this after that. So, is this ABC corrections turning into a big 1, 2, 3, 4 to the day? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not an Elliot Wave guy. I just use them when it comes in. We made a lower low. Here on the 15-minute, we made a lower low. Now, my little tricks can help us kind of get out of jams in the bottom areas, and that looks cool. But it's ultimately above for Bitcoin to get bullish here. And she's trying, but it's the same old story. It's the same old story. We'll get up 0.5, maybe a 0.6, roll over, and then we find ourselves going lower. Same story. We did the same stuff over here, man. We came up to the 618. It's like, oh, good. We didn't get past it. The 618, for you guys that don't know about Fibonacci, I mean, you've heard the rule about the 200 moving average, how if you're above it, you're bullish, you're below it, you're bearish. It's kind of the same thing with the 618. If you're above it, you're bullish. If you're below it, then, well, you got some work to do. And we couldn't get above it. And that opens us up right down here for this area. We just hadn't got there yet. Just hadn't gotten down there yet. So my take is tomorrow when they open up the real markets, they're probably going to dump. Man, you didn't even make it past that. Ooh, that's nasty. Didn't even make it past there. This is where I'd be looking for hope. You know, I'd hope that we'd be coming and make it. I'd be looking for a double bottom there. But this is the scenario. This is what the other side of the scenario looks like. And that's probably what I was calling for that time. Is, you know, looking for a double bottom, W pattern. And then for something like that to happen. But we didn't get up there to even confirm. She just came down here. I remember talking about this inverted head and shoulders, looking at the patterns on the smaller time frames, but that is a bottom reversal pattern, but it doesn't mean that it's the bottom, does it? Well, she came right up here and made a regular head and shoulders if you go down the smaller time frames. Against resistance there, and if you play this out, we're just dropping, baby. We dropping level by level. We're dropping. we might have got something here. Maybe we working on something, but even if we go up, and break out of this little beautiful bullish megaphone pattern and get our breakout, we're not until we get above 86,000. Until we start making higher highs and higher lows, we're still in a downtrend. And these bigger moving averages are still saying they're going down. Even here on the 5-minute chart, bears cross 200 over that 360. They're still working on rolling over. It doesn't mean that we can't come up and see these guys. And that's what I'm saying with the strategy I'm about to talk about. I'm talking about it here before. And I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. I'm just going to stick with Bitcoin because altcoins just look just as crappy as Bitcoin does right now. Let me come over to the chat real quick. We got 27 people hanging out here. I hope I've not bummed anybody out too much, but I'm just calling out what I see. And I don't want to be that little hopium guy that, oh, we're at the bottom, we're getting ready to go up, because the bigger time frames are saying no. No. Let's refresh ourselves over here with the most notable one that I want to pull out, the 2 week. The 2 week has went flip bearish there. The 1 week has been bearish, trying to level off, but look, she's got a fresh new lower histogram right there this week. That's not turning around. That's not the light pink we're looking for. The monthly MACD is showing signs of weakness. The monthly MACD, not officially crossing. Now, she's gotten that way before, right? Before I go back to the chat, let's take a look at the MACD here. Let's draw us a line here between. I'll go on the first pale candle and then the first green candle. How did that work? That was the first pale candle, and she actually went up after it, and then she dumped. Remember, we already went through this in a smaller time frame. That's when we went to 40-something thousand, and then that was the first blue candle that we got there. She didn't actually cross, but the histogram spelled it out. The histogram went bullish, and then we got something good out of it. We ain't got that now. We still got this, and it's coming down, so no bueno. Let me come over to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. We've got Sin Joe from Trade Intuition. How's it going? And we got Jim Derringer. 1 hour on ES1 fighting for dear life. I think they're going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting all first of this week anyway, right? And I don't know. Whether tariffs, I don't know what kind of effect that's going to have, but it's just freaking everybody out. And when they freak out, whoever wants to manipulate one side to the other or whatever's going on, however you want to look at how this market plays out, I see turbulence coming. I see rocky roads that I don't want to be. I'm battening down my hatches. Turkey and red? Am I red? Oh, yep. Yeah, the color, the red jacket does come out on red days usually, or red bearish times. There's So. How's it going, So? So says message retracted. Doge Millionaire is a good example. He had $4 million in profit, but never sold his bags. He's still holding. Yeah. And at the time, I mean, I think it is. I think what it is that you look at it and you think that's my checking account. They'll probably stick around there. It might vary a little bit, but I don't. You know, I think you kind of think this is going to stay there. But you got to sell to realize, and that's a hard thing. It's still a hard thing for me to do. And I think it sounds like it's so easy because you're either selling too early or you're selling too late, not selling at all. That's what it seems to feel like. So says Daydream Room is better. I think so is a poet. Sin says, what would I do about my tube? Here's Ando Pancho. How's it going? Working is going to keep me going, says So. Laying in bed watching the Mason turkey. Well, definitely a turkey. Bored PC guy. How's it going? Haven Peck says, I lost my wallet in a 200 AC Cloverfield today. Yay me. Oh man. But it was just your regular wallet, not your crypto wallet, right? Yeah, that does suck. I have no advice for that. There's Brackets Adventures. What's up? Jedi Flip Flops? Haven Peck says, I'm preparing to buy Crow and Bitcoin. That's it. You are sold on Crow. Which I've seen what Crow can do. I've been in Crow with their card and everything. What have you found out about, or what is it the thing that kind of tipped you off or made you? What compelled you to go more for Crow? What made that one your number one pick? I'd like to ask you that. And we've seen it went up past $1 or right at $1 last cycle. And they've been doing some token burns. I haven't kept up with them to know what they're doing, but I do know they are hooked up with with the US, and they are. My app is showing where they're trying to get stocks tokenized. I'm assuming tokenized stocks, but I saw where I can transfer stocks from like E-Trade or something like that over there. So they doing some big things, and when the tokenization comes in, I'm sure that their Crow token is going to have a play because they've got their own chain too, their own Chronos chain, kind of like Binance did. And I'm sure they're going to do something. Bobby Eck, hey, how's it going? And Jedi Flip Flops. How's the support for Solana memes? I would be scared to be around any meme coins right now because Total 3 is about to, in my personal opinion, it's taking a hit. We should probably look at that one more time here. So Total, oh, now we got it. Well, here's your red dot on the monthly VMC for Total 3, saying altcoins aren't really getting any better right now. Let's kind of track down through here. Here we are on the 3-day, and you got stochastics coming down. This is probably where it's going to be where you're going to feel it the most. So we know the bigger time frames are bearish, and you know we can have up and downs from there. But the smaller term, with the 3-day, technically that's a bigger time frame. That one's telling us, well, for about the next 2 weeks, especially this next week is probably going to be kind of ugly for all altcoins. I recommend, if you're going to play the market, you might want to look at finding shorts. If you're going to try to make some profit, I think you might find some shorts, but you don't want to short support. And that seems to be what everybody that seems to be where you instinctively want to do it, is at support. And some tubers are even, they do that a lot. And I understand why, because you feel like that's the right thing to do at the time, but it's not, and they can go against you. Total 3 looks like she is ready to. I've had her in this area that she can find support, and I think she's going to lose it. I think she might be going to lose it. We got the 100 moving average over here on the 4-hour, rolling over underneath the 200, not crossing, starting to do a rollover with a bearish 50 going across it. That's a death cross possible. This is starting to look like it was more of a bear flag, and I hope not. I hope the measured move doesn't work out for it, but if it is, that takes us down to our deeper support area, which we might find some traction here, at least temporarily, come back up, and then we could still keep going. It could be like that. All right, so are you guys interested in the play I'm doing? I've talked about it before. But let me know in the chat. We can get some. Maybe I should do a poll. Should I do a poll? Let's do the poll.
Every click is a heart take. Watching numbers dance and shake. Now I need a crypto break. Wonder what road I should take.
So I'm going to put if you guys are interested in the histogram hedge strategy for bearish markets. That's my name for it. Because it can make a histogram. Or a hexagram. I said histogram. Makes a hexagram. 4 hour, and we got our flipping of our moving averages here on the bigger ones, the bigger band. We got a little static here, but that still doesn't mean that we're not coming down. And I hate to be a bear. But we got it, and that's just where we are. On Bitcoin and on altcoins too. As long as we're below that 200 daily moving average, man, that's not good. Now a lot of people are saying, and rightly so, we did that before over here, and I hope we got something like that. We can recover it soon. I think we're more than something more like this where we can play around. We are most likely probably going to come back and touch this 360 moving average, in my personal opinion, and see how well that she's done. I wish I had more to work with there. Maybe this one does. It's different over there. We talked about MBT1. I was going to come back to that. They're different. If you notice, this is the Bitcoin futures. Now see, we're not below the 200 moving average over here. They don't have weekend trading over here, so all their data here is just based Monday through Friday. Now I find this one interesting. Now if there was any kind of hopeful scenario that I'd be looking for here, is that we just retest that 200 moving average. But you know what price that 200 moving average is? $78,259. 78 keeps coming up for me a lot. That's the number I'm leaning to, even though I showed you some other places that are pointing towards 72 or 73 as a possibility, and maybe they'll tweak in, but 78 seems to be standing out to me in my charts that what I keep seeing. That's the number that keeps coming up for me. So that's where I'm looking for us to probably take a dive down to this week is 78,000. But we got some bearish crosses over here too, but I find that very interesting just because they're traded differently. But you can still see over here, we still got some bearish turns. Let's look at see their MACD. Also on the 2 week, it's bearish over there. So futures, this is Bitcoin futures, bearish on the 2 week. Starting to show signs of being bearish on the monthly too, right? WD Gann says to watch the futures market. Well, that's what they're doing. They're betting on futures technically. And here on the 3 day, I mean, there's a rollover happening right here on the histogram. Starting to. And here we are on the daily. You can see the rollover coming before a bearish cross here. So Bitcoin is getting ready to tank. She's getting ready to come down, in my personal opinion. And I would be looking. This would be a good chart to watch, I think. I really do. Because it's open today now. It's open now. Even though it's not moving. Why aren't you moving? Just to be moving. Or maybe they open up at 5 on Sundays, right? Yeah, they're going. They're just dragging us lower. Let me come back to the chat. I got sidetracked. Uh-oh, we got the... Hey, there's Hulin. How's it going? Haven says, banana is way too happy. Look at him just twerking like it's payday. Oh, you hadn't seen the chicken, have you? I forgot about it. That's the... Why is she way up there? She's not supposed to be way up there. She's not standing on anything. Well, I think I get her and then I don't get her. All right, so let's go back to the post. I was interested in hexagram strategy. 86%, okay. 14% say no. I will get into that. Now you could make an argument where we're coming back for a retest of this trend line breakout. That's an argument to be made, but we're below it. Perhaps if we come to a smaller time frame, we can see some more minutiae here that could persuade us one way or the other. And just go from that body to here, we say, oh, that was just resistance we just got rejected from. So kind of kills that idea. $78,000, the number that keeps coming up for me is our 886 retracement right here. I'm going to mark that little guy there. Let's grab a crappy altcoin. Let me clear this poll out, and then I'll try to use it for, or I could just use Bitcoin. But I'll go over that strategy. I've been over before, so it might ring some bells for some of you guys. But I don't know. I've got a feeling that maybe it'll do good for somebody here. I think somebody needs it. It saved my ass a lot because I use it a lot in spot margin, and that's, knock on wood, has kept me from getting liquidated. Maximum profit. Hey, we got news on the 2nd of April. You do not want to be selling. Well, my strategy is not selling. This is more of a hedge strategy, and that's what I'm doing, just to kind of batten down the hatches for all the rough weather that I think that we got coming in. And I don't know. I mean, news coming on Tuesday. I mean, the tariffs and everything. That's. There's nothing on the chart saying we're ready to bounce. Not a strong bounce. Now we might level out, but there's still some down. Bigger time frames are just spelling out, man. We still got some bearish stuff ahead of us. So so whatever news that comes out, I mean, it's going to have to be some hellified news, and it's got to be better than Eric Trump tweeting out, "Hey, buy Bitcoin now," and it dropping. So I don't know. I'm a total technical analyst, but I will keep my ear to the ground for the news. But the charts have got to convince me. Let us get a. Here's Doge. Oh man, Doge. This suckies. What? I mean, Doge is at she's testing one of her bottom trend lines here. She does need a bounce. Now, I'm not saying that we won't get some kind of little rally over the week or so. I'm not saying that the strategy is counting on us getting one, right? And we'll use Doge, even though she seems like she's at a bottom. We're not seeing a Caspa by being the one to put up here, but what does Caspa look like? Be giving something that may not be at a total bottom here. Oh, Caspa would probably be a great one. Look at Caspa. That's horrible. So what about the 12-hour? So this strategy, you need to identify your support points, and I use fibs for mine a lot. You can go back and identify your support resistance, however you want to do it, manually or whatever. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Like I just said, you can do fibs from wherever you want to take your fibs. A lot of them you'll see will overlap, and they'll be relevant to places in the price action. Fibs are pretty good at getting some unique support resistance areas. You can even take a variety of them if you like. So you got the price points that could be hidden, and now I call this the hexagram strategy because well, now it's like, oh God, what should I do? And this is what I got. And it's also the hourglass strategy, I guess you could say that. And basically what you're doing is you're structuring your sales. You want to structure sales. If we do, for when we get a pump to the upside, that it's hedging. Now you can do this if you're like spot margin. I got the options. I can short, I can borrow these coins and sell on the way up, have my limit orders. This is a set and forget strategy. This is what I'm doing, set and forget. Now this will appeal to some of you, and some of you say, this is bull crap, I don't want to hear it. It all depends on you, but for most people who are out there working, that's who I think needs to hear it. It can't be in the market. You're setting your levels as sell levels. Now you can either set the same amount, you know, I don't know what you got, what you're working with, like $100 at each level that you're, so if we go up in there, you're collecting that cash or you're collecting that margin, however you're working it. And then we come to the lower lows, which I'm pretty positive are probably coming. And if I'm wrong, then, you know, we just, you know, I'm just being safe and hedging. Okay. I'll have some powder that I can put in when we start turning around and showing, you know, higher highs, higher lows. We changed trends. Oh my God, the miracle, half the news that came out on April 2nd just changed the world for us. Okay. Then we're good to go on that. We got dry powder to put in and get some good entries and go for it. But if that doesn't happen, if the other case happens and the news doesn't hold, and, you know, I don't know, we get a black swan event, Russia decides to invade Kuwait or Kuwait and Ukraine, or Iran starts doing, I don't know, but, you know, when that stuff goes on, these markets tank. And if you're being too bullish and not reading the signs on the wall, then you get caught up in that crap. And they say that we could even come up right here, the 13th, what's this, Caspa? I don't believe I'm saying that, but it could be a possibility. But we're playing Caspa. I mean, whatever amount, $100 at each level that you're selling till we buy up into it, or you can do the 4-3-2-1 strategy, which I went over. Takes a little bit more effort, but you're pyramiding down. If I had $100 and I want to distribute it over 4 areas, I can go 40, 30, 20, 10, and as price came up, you know, I'm selling more, getting more value out of those higher prices and less value out of the lower prices. That's one way to think about it. Now, if we don't go up to where the price is good, and then we take a big tumble down, then you're like, oh man, I don't have enough dry powder. So that's the downside of it. This is really good for profit taking, or using it on the reverse for buying in. Which is the flip side of this, when we did our thing, is our lower areas that we'll get down here on cast, but we could use our fibs, or even this. I'll just use horizontal support and resistance just to make this easier. Just get some of these areas here, especially ones that flip. I don't know where that line come from. So if you like drawing these big old horizontal ass lines here on your chart, then which my charts used to look like this, then here you go. Same thing. Now that 4-3-2-1 strategy that we're talking about, you know, you could do it here. They would work out better this way for buying. I can't even do it. But I mean, even for $1,000, you know, you just add a zero. But that would be, you see what we're doing. So when you come down into these levels, well, you're getting more value for your buck as you go down. That's one way to do it, or you can just do it even. Some people use these strategies. This is a type of grid strategy. It's a type of strategy that bots use a lot. Not exactly according to what I'm doing here, because well, I use fibs. But then, you know, you're getting powder, and that powder is being rolled into these orders too. Okay. So as it comes up, you know, we'll put an order here. It comes up here, we put an order here. She comes up here, we put an order here. However you want to stack it, that's how I do it sometimes. And then when we come down, we just eat them up. And then you're getting, it's also kind of like a dollar cost average thing, because you're getting an average of these prices. That's why when we weight them heavier, 400, 300, 200, you're getting more of a lower average entry, if that makes sense, when we do this. But this has been a great way to hedge for me on spot margin. But it really comes at a point when we need to be somewhere where we can get a relief rally. And I think we might see a little bit of one. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I think might be nasty. Become Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, dust it all off. Oh man, that's all it was. But it's not, because we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Come up, and then, you know, then we get ready for the lower lows. That's my take, but that's our hexagram strategy there, or hourglass strategy, if you want to look at it that way, in a nutshell. Let me come to the chat, see what you guys want to talk about now. I think I went over everything that I wanted to talk about. Just that Bitcoin kind of looks sucky. Altcoins are definitely looking sucky, and that's, some of these guys are not going to survive, or not going to survive well. You're going to, if you thought your portfolio is died, I mean, taint now, I mean, what could be going on the next couple of weeks? It could make it worse, and we just want to try to do something to avoid that, or at least try to lessen it. And this is one way that it can do it, that I'm showing you. That we, Board PC guy says, nice viewer ratio. Let's get it to 1-to-1. Do we need to bring out Elvis? Elvis is in the break room. Elvis.
For those of you out there that have been hitting that like button, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
There's Jay Violet. How's it going? Haven says, I want another POW in my HODL. I don't know what to pick. Another proof of work. I've got one. It's my dark horse, but it's not been... She ain't been winning no races lately. I like DCR, Decred. And I've also been doing Monero. Monero seems, believe it or not, Monero holds pretty well. I've noticed that. I was able to get in when she was a good price, and I was able to build a little bag of her. I'm glad I got in. I wish I'd gotten in a lot cheaper, but I don't know, well, maybe I couldn't. She hadn't really had any lower prices than 1.0. I forgot when I got in, but anyway, she you know, she can do good, $500, but she seems to do pretty good when Bitcoin's going through trouble, and it's one of them privacy coins that the government hates and all that kind of stuff, and she's actually looking kind of good. And even if she comes down, I mean, getting her about 180 would be pretty good. So this is one, you know, also I'm doing this on everything that I've got. I don't expect to get much out of Monero because, well, she doesn't come down that much. She probably will continue up. And when she does come down, you know, I soak it up. OM's another one that I do. Now that Mantra, is that a layer 1? This one is strong. This one's been a winner. This has been one of my best picks. But she's given up her areas now, right? She's losing the 9 moving average. So this is another one. And she could come down. She could come down a lot for real. We got this trend line here, and I know it sounds crazy to think that she might come down that far, but she can. So we can do those ideas. I don't know that she'll necessarily come down this low, but she can. She's still got some stuff to do. It'd be nice if she could bounce here about 550, 560. She still looks pretty strong to me. But with whatever goes on over the next few weeks, with the markets and stuff, you know, I mean, she could reach into the $4 area, retest this area. That could be very likely. Get a deeper 0.5 retrace. And so I might be throwing that strategy on this guy right here. Bullish on Prey says same bleeding. They are bleeding. So hopefully that makes sense. Maybe we'll reach out now. I mean, I don't know. That's just something that comes in for the bags that you're really trying to keep, or something to help you with that. And you can use a little bit of leverage, like spot margin play. That's where it really helps me out doing that. But that's just one way to do it. Otherwise, you know, whatever. But a lot of shorting seems to be kind of popular. So, you know, hi. This is the proof of work thing that my little dark horse played, DCR Decred. It's a hybrid proof of stake, proof of work coin. I used to have one of the miners, but it got burned up in a fire. She's about $11, but she's been there before and then ran all the way up to 250. I was hoping that would have happened by now, but it hasn't. And still hoping that it will. There's only like 21. I forgot what it was. Is it 20? I think there was only 21 million like Bitcoin on it. That's what appeals to me. You got coins like Rune coming down and trying to hold bottom here as best that they can. Some of these coins, you look at them and say, how can they possibly go down any lower? And that sounds like a legit question. Sounds like, oh, maybe they'll just pop now. That's hopium, but now we looked at total 3 and everything. It's important to also look at the coins themselves and seeing what they got. And she's kind of bearish on the monthly there too. The 2 week, it's got a little bit of relief, so that's going to be important to look at too with your coins. And the 3 days, she's starting to give it up there. And on the daily, yeah. So, wow, it looks like this area here, she's fighting to struggle to hold. Might be in danger of giving away here. And my next target for you, I don't like that. You're at one of them. Wow, look at you. Were you a 618? Not quite. So I mean, we could be seeing. I mean, we're at $1.12, but losing this level would take me down to my next fib levels, which she might do. Down to this 1382 at 60 cents. That's a 50% drop out of this possible. Now, getting down to these areas, we're at some areas on our fibs that I'd be looking at for bottoms on some of these coins. But regardless, if Bitcoin falls, these altcoins are going too. That's just, they just are. And that's what sucks about this market, you know. That's why we spend a lot of time just tracking Bitcoin instead of altcoins, because well, if Bitcoin's not heavy, then altcoins aren't going to be happy either. But 60 cents back in 66 could be on the radar, and that would be a lower low than what we had back here. It's 80 cents. That was back in June 2023 when we did that. Scario says Bitcoin dominance on the 3-day. Zoom out. Do you see an inverted cup and handle? Asking for a friend. Bitcoin dominance. And what did you say? 3-day? I'll say nothing that resembles a cup and handle. I'm sure somebody's probably looking to call that a cup and handle. And I don't want to get into lectures about cup and handles or anything like that, but they're not pointy, and they say avoid any kind of, you want rounded bottoms and not pointy ones. You don't want dagger bottoms. That's exactly what Thomas Bukowski says. No dagger bottoms. Well, we got with Bitcoin dominance is a series of higher highs and higher lows, and she looks like she wants to blast off and go to the moon, which is going to make all the thousands and hundreds of thousands of altcoins out there take a back seat to Bitcoin. And the thing is, when we pull up the little cheat sheet over here, Bitcoin dominance, if it is going up and Bitcoin is going down, which it is, altcoins are going to dump. They're going to dump hard, fast, and heavy. This is the worst scenario that we want for all altcoins right now. That's why I'm putting out this thing about the hedge strategy and things like that. My warning is mostly for altcoins. I mean, Bitcoin, she's going to do fine overall. We come down 78, maybe 73. Yay! Sucks for the Bitcoin bags that are leveraged out, but we got some place there. But the altcoins are going to dump. So with altcoins, what I would recommend. It's a great time to find some shorting strategies, but don't short support. You got to wait till they get their little pump, which we can. They won't be all the way straight down. There'll be some rise and fall, and you can see that with some of them. Some of them looking like they're trying to do a little something. But that whatever the next lower, we want to start shorting the lower highs. That's what we want to look at for shorting. We want to look for lower highs and try to short those and try to stay away from shorts. And I suppose I should get an altcoin out here to look for. What about you, Litecoin? And we would have to look at smaller time frames for this. So maybe 4 hours, things like that would be a good place. So right now, shorting Litecoin here at $85, even though we got that red dot, that's risky AF because you're at support. You're at a support level. However, if you're patient with these and the best way, in my personal opinion, we at some point we're going to come up here and we're going to have to test this guy. That would be these kind of moves, the bearish retest, to be patient and wait for support. And a lot of people are going to be coming out, I'm going to start shorting now, and it's cool. And then there may be a drop tomorrow. There might be a play here. You look on smaller time frames to kind of see. Maybe, but it's risky AF to be shorting here. And I know a lot of people are going to be out there on YouTube saying, "Well, just short." But you're shorting support. Just got it, saying it for real. So the short, so you get in, and then like it starts going against you, and freak out. getting stopped out all the times on your shorts. I mean, the only way not to get stopped out is to get a good entry on them. And it's easier said than done, but so some good places that I think to look for shorts on the fibs. Well, the 0.5s, 382s, and 87s. Now you could build a short, and that's essentially what the pyramid strategy we're doing. The little thing that we just went over. That's kind of what's going on right there. And here we are on smaller time frames. Super short Litecoin. Litecoin's possibly made a double bottom here. She could be coming up short term and before she rolls over. But that's what I'm seeing that we'll be setting up for. I think we're setting up for a lot of these coins that we maybe they cross our fingers that they'll go up before they go down on most of them. But the coming down part, that looks like that's happening. Let's take Solana. I'm curious what the market's going to do tomorrow. And I think all this depends a lot on the legacy market on Wall Street. And maybe tonight and until tomorrow, maybe they run us up. There's some nice little signs here on the 1 hour for Solana. I mean, she was down to 123. She's at 126. But we've lost major trend lines on all these altcoins. All these altcoins have lost major trend lines. So the fact that they can come up to 133, 132 for Solana, all these moving averages are flipped bearish AF. 800, 600, 300. Our biggest moving averages here. Bearish AF. If we're lucky, we could come back up here. Even if we broke back into here, I don't know if I would trust it. That might be a positive sign if we did something like that. Maybe. I don't see it. You still got your 50 that's got to come over and do a bullish cross over the 200. That's, there's a lot of work for that scenario to play out. Most likely what happens is that we get a bearish retest and we can come down and probably come down to finally to 117 and maybe lower. That's kind of what I'm seeing play out here. But right now, oh look, we double bottom. I'm sure there's people saying that. I don't know what people are saying. I'm not tuning into them. But I'll say here in the shorter term time frame, so far she made a higher high. But I'm not trusting anything that I'm seeing out of here over these next 2 weeks on altcoins. Maybe I'm just being bearish. Grimmer says CTI. Let's take a look at that one. Is this Clintex? Well, she finally hit her. Oh, okay. Apparently we nailed it here, and then she's coming back to retest it. So let me back up and see what we had here. I forgot. This is the daily chart. Here on the daily, Market Cipher is liking it, giving it a green dot there. And not just that, you do have money flow in the on the positive side, so she might be getting another bounce off of here, and maybe retesting this guy up here again. And so, I mean, I'm in a bearish mode for these things because we have to be. But I'm not saying that we can't get a little relief rally, or even come up to some resistance areas before we roll over. That's kind of what I'm driving home, is the strategy take some profits on the way, because as far as these altcoins going to the moon, we don't have those signs just yet. And maybe they could even break out of patterns and look like they're coming up, but they're going to hit areas that they're going to roll over. I would be taking profits on altcoins. I wouldn't be trying to. That's just my take. But this one, she looks like she's trying to bounce off of here. That's cool. Let's hope she does. She can get above the 9 moving average. That's on the daily. 4 hour. What do you look like?
I'm a corner kid born where the street lights hum. Crypto's my shield, stacking dreams from the slum. Main punks rolled up, flashing coins so fake. Shield me jump, pumped it, left my stack to break.
So we got a partial decline going on. I was trying to work. This is a lot nicer than what I was trying to do here. Maybe she can get back up here. That'd be cool. That's almost a 2x up there. From here to there, that's about 68%. So shorting here on a lot of these altcoins, not the greatest idea, right? Okay, and there might be some people out there saying that just because we're down, and that's what our insights would want us to do. Oh, bear flag, down to the downside. You're probably getting a lot of that. But now here we're retesting a fib level. This one to me has a higher chance of holding, and even some of the indicators are showing that with some divergence and things. So some signs there might be a little bit of a rally, but if it doesn't hold, man, look where she can come. 0.004. She could take another nasty drop if it doesn't hold. And ooh, yeah, she could be looking at that guy right there if it doesn't hold. So probably a good place to have stop losses. Let's go down to the 1 hour on this one. She's trying. I don't know. I mean, I honestly can't tell you if she's going to bounce from this area or lose it. I would need to see her get above the 9 moving average and some other thing. You know, any kind of breakout over any kind of higher high from one of these areas, or a breakout of a trend line, something hopium. It looks like the 2 hour has reclaimed the 9 moving average, and it's got the, you know, it's got some good signs here for local. It would be good for this one to hold this area. So I could see maybe something like that could happen, but we still got these areas. We still got they're still there. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this stream. I've been going for about an hour and 36 minutes, and it's mostly been just bitching on Bitcoin and the FUD in the market and everything. And there is a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and I'm not seeing great signs that we're ready to just for Bitcoin to blast off to any new things. There seems to be some other stuff going on in the other markets, and they're probably going to affect Bitcoin. We need to see the dollar continue to decline. That would be helpful. And maybe she is. Maybe we're getting something like that. She's actually starting to look a little bullish to me. Let's take a look at I haven't really looked at the QQQ, but let's take a look at this. This is the regular markets over here, and they're getting scared, okay? Because they've got a break. The regular markets have broken. The QQQ, which I know really nothing about, but the big guys do follow this. And Jim, if he's still in the chat, I'm sure he would have a lot to say about the QQQ, and he could tell you a lot more about it. But we lost a level. And so losing the 50 moving average would take us by my 5 moving average trade to the 100 moving average. Measure move from this channel also takes us down there. Now if they drop down there, that's about 7%. That's going to freak them the F out. Now overall, it still looks pretty healthy to me. You know, I mean, as a crypto person and what that, we're used to the crazy volatility and stuff, but over there they're not, and they start freaking out. So There's hope that maybe, I'm sure they're looking for a bounce here at the 618, but since they broke that trend line, it's not as likely. I'd be looking at possibly coming down to these guys. Retesting this guy would probably be one of the best scenarios, 448. And this will probably happen. This is on the weekly too, so they've been fighting this for a while. And here we are on the daily. They found support here at the 618. Okay, got rejected off the trend line. Next move, unless we get some magical bounce here in the morning, which doesn't sound like it, is down to this area, and that's going to freak the markets out. And you're going to feel it in crypto too. Bearish cross and 50 over 100. They got some stuff. I think from here they can probably do okay, and we'll just expand our trend line. To be honest with you, I think you could be seeing something work a little bit more like this. Actually, let's just do this. Let's just do it this way. Let's just take the outer angles here and apply it to the bottom, and that kind of spells out what I think that we might actually see here after I get these little guys off. Your channel's just getting more mature, so and that could spell us dropping a little bit more here. And there, of course, is Lucy into the picture, the 666 moving average. I find that. All right, well, that would be our hopeful situation, but I'm sure a lot of those guys are looking at this way. So maybe I will give the entertainment the idea that April 2nd, which would be here, that maybe we could come down, we'd lose the 618 a little bit, bounce off a possible trend line area, bounce off of here, maybe, we'll look. All right, let's make a note. We'll reserve this idea if there's some kind of bounce opportunity here. But a lot of those guys are going to be looking for that bear flag, and they're probably bearish as all get out because that broke, and that flagpole run deep. And for them, they're probably thinking, oh no, my portfolio going to drop another 12%. And they don't like that. And just because we got this 600 and 800 moving average doesn't mean that we can't go below it and that this scenario can't play out. It can be playing out. But I do, if I'm looking at it this way, I do see some signs of hope that, so let's keep an eye on what happens right here around the 2nd. That is when the tariff news comes out. That's one of the reasons that would be for them to get spooked and drop. And it sucks that we're at the mercy of what Wall Street is doing, but we're tied to Wall Street now, so we got to pay attention to what they're feeling and what they're thinking, because they're controlling the big bucks right now for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin kind of navigates everything for the rest of crypto. Guys, I'm going to bang out of here. Thanks for hanging out, and appreciate you stopping by and everything. If you can't hit that like button, like and subscribe. And again, I don't know if I'm going to be on tomorrow night or not. I'm contemplating just taking a few days off, just to set my strategies and forget it, and just taking a chill pill. And while they figure out all whatever they're going to be figuring out, all I know is I see turbulence, and it's going to be shaky, and the possibility of it being really shaky for crypto. So just cover your asses for whatever you're doing. We're not through our big flush out just yet, in my opinion. But I am still I'm not thinking we're going to a bear market. I still got confidence in Bitcoin is going to recover and do well. But we got a lot of games going on right now, and a lot of things going on in the global scene that allow these games to happen. And it's just going to be shaky. Just be cautious. Tomorrow, I think I'm expecting the regular markets to open up kind of bearish tomorrow. And that will spill over to crypto. And so it's just some common sense just to be cautious and be careful. Set your stop losses, whatever your strategy is. if you find some good altcoins that are good to short, you might want to go on it, but I wouldn't recommend short and support. Some of them look like they might want to bounce here. We might get a little rally before we get a bigger drop, but the bigger time frames on these altcoins and for a total 3, there are some variances on some altcoins. You want to pay attention to that, but Bitcoin and all that is not looking good. They're giving us a warning, just like they've given us a warning before, and if we don't pay attention to it, we can get caught up in saying, well, here's my ass handed to me again one more time. Why didn't I listen when the signs were there? Because that's what's happened before. Good night, everybody. Good luck, and just take care, because the biggest thing you want to do is stay in this market, preserve your capital, and not let them flush you out. See ya when I see ya. Where's that button? Sean? Where's the button? Nah, I can't find the button. Sean, you got the button? Sean? Sean.
Caught in the glow, where the charts collide, dips fade away. I'm on this neon ride, sats in my veins. FOMO's electric spark, ooh yeah. Crypto's my pulse, beating through the dark, yeah. Gas fees flicker, whales dance in the haze. I'm stacking dreams in this digital maze. Every coin I claim lights a moonlit flame. Ooh, smooth.
Y'all talking Crypto handles?
Who runs my way? I'm rewriting the game. Woo! Neon bull run lighting up the sky. Rising through the dark, I'm flying high. Yeah, yeah. Crypto's glow won't fade my soul.
Are you talking about this thing?
Bull run shines, I found my goal. Neon bull run.
I see no inverted cup and handle.
Rook pulls behind. I've broke their chains, flipped the spark to gold, washed away the stains.
I see where, I don't know, somebody might close their eyes and try to see something like that happening, but that's not what's,
Moons lift me up.
That's called premature ejaculation in my book. What I do see is a nice strong trend line, and we keep making higher highs and not even really making lower lows. We just keep going up, and if Bitcoin dominance keeps going up, altcoins are going to get demolished. I think I left that thing up the whole time, didn't I?
Neon bull run, run, run. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah,
You guys have a good night too. Good night, so. Joe says, awesome. I'm going to bed now. Time for me to catch up on some sleep. I feel that way too.
Crypto's my spark, my fight, my gleam. Bull runs my pulse.
Well, I hope it made sense. I'm just, we just need to be cautious right now. Just be cautious.
Neon's my fire, I'm one of a kind. Neon bull run lighting up the sky. Rising through the dark, I'm flying high. Yeah, crypto's glow won't fade my soul.
Thank you guys, I appreciate you.
Neon bull run, run, run. Oh, oh, yeah. Neon lights ignite. Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's let the little dog wave here.
Neon bull run, run.
See you guys later.